What's up, party people? Android Stud here, and I have two beasts of phones before you right now. I have the Sony Xperia 1 right here. I have it in that beautiful royal purple, or royalty purple, as people like to say. And then I have the OnePlus 7 Pro, the Victoria's Secrets of smartphones, that's right. And this is in the Nebula Blue, that stunning color. Not sure which one you guys like. They both have that triple camera setup in the back. They have the glass backs. Real premium flagships right here. One from Sony, one from OnePlus. These are really very beautiful phones. Let's talk about price first. With the OnePlus 7 Pro, you can get this as low as $669. You can get it as much as $749. Now this is an expensive phone, the Sony Xperia 1. This is probably about $899, $950. You might be able to pick it up on Swappa for a little less, depending on what kind of deals you can get. Now, the OnePlus 7 Pro is rocking that Snapdragon 855 processors, and this is also rocking that Snapdragon 855 processor, so they both have the same engine. Now, as far as RAM, you can get this in a 6, 8 and 12 gigabyte RAM versions. You can get this up to 256 gigabytes of storage, but that would cost you around $750. Now this one is a 128 gigabyte storage, 6 gigabytes of RAM, but you can do the SD card for up to 2 terabytes. That's a lot of files on a phone, if you ask me. Now these both come in different colors. This comes in the blue. You also get that mirror gray or black, or whatever you want to call it, for OnePlus. Also, they have the almond almond color one, which is really nice. I like that color myself, but I've stuck with the blue. This blue's been pretty solid. This also comes in a black and white, along with the purple that you see here. These are both beautiful devices. This has that Quad HD Super AMOLED display. Is beautiful, 6.7 inch fluid AMOLED, or whatever you want to call it. It is just a stunning looking device. This is definitely a case phone. You better put this in a case, because it's all glass. I mean, this thing, you drop it, forget it, you're done. The one thing about the Sony phone that is so stellar about it, it has that 4K HDR screen. You're looking at about 6.5 OLED display. The display doesn't get super bright, but I know that a lot of subscribers say that's so that it protects against burn-in, which makes sense. Now this one gets pretty bright. The colors are more saturated on this one. They look more livelier. On here, they're a little bit more natural and reduced, but the definition on this, when you're watching videos, is bar none the best that I've seen on a smartphone. Now, battery, this has that 4,000 milliamp battery, so you're gonna probably go a day and a half if you want, no problem. This only has a 3,300 milliamp battery. You can go about a day, so it just depends on how much you use the phone. So, but battery, I think the OnePlus is better because it has just a bigger battery, and it'll last longer. This is 4K, this is only 2K or Quad HD, or whatever you want to call it. Now, they both had the triple camera setup on the back. This has that 48 megapixel shooter. This has 3 12 megabyte shooters. They both do wide angle. They both do telephoto. They do standard lens. Now on the front, you get the 16 megapixel camera, not megabytes, not gigabytes. You get the megapixel camera on this. Now the front facing camera on this is pretty cool, because you get the pop-up style camera. On here, as you see, it pops up and then you can take your picture, so that's pretty cool. On here you have the regular shooter, just straight from the camera, and that one is a 8 megapixel camera. It both take excellent front facing shots, both portrait and regular shots. I like the colors on the OnePlus 7 Pro's pictures better, just a little bit more saturation. These are more natural. I have a video on the Sony Xperia phone, and also one on the OnePlus phone. You could also follow me on Twitter at Android Stud, also on Instagram to see more of my pictures. But I think overall the OnePlus 7 Pro's camera is a little better, but this one does take good shots. I don't like the portrait mode on either of these phones. I think they're just not well set up, and the camera UI just takes too long to set up a portrait shot. You got to have the perfect angle, and you know, it's just, to me, it's just a pain in the butt to shoot portrait on both of these phones. The Sony camera opens up a little slow, I did notice, but that could be, you know, for various reasons. So hopefully they do send an update on that and get that fixed up, because you know, you want to get that rocking and rolling and running right. But both shoot pretty good video also. The Sony's 4K is excellent on it. The 1080p 30 is excellent. And the video cameras on the OnePlus 7 Pro are pretty good. Stabilization on both are good. Now the 1080-60 on the Sony, miss me with that. It's not that good. Hopefully they improve that with an update, but that's just me. Just shooting regular video, I think it does a decent job, so it's not such a big deal if you ask me. Now, the one thing about the Sony that's funny is it's a 4K display, but the front-facing camera doesn't do 4K. That's a big fail on their part, you know? Also on this, should have 4K in the front, but hey, they both do 4K on the rear cameras, so you can get your 4K video on the rear camera. So now this does not do wide angle video yet. At the time of this video, this one does, so you can shoot wide angle video with that, which is kind of cool. Now this has the Oxygen OS 9.0 Android Pie. It has the best software of any phone. Now the Sony is pretty good because it's totally a stock Android experience, so it really is buttery smooth. I have no hang-ups with this Sony phone. You could do anything with this phone. It'll keep up with the OnePlus 7 Pro, but the OnePlus 7 Pro is a beast, you know, because the software is so good on it. But this is totally stock Android, so you're not really, it's lovely if you ask me. It's just really, really good. Now these both have fast charging. This has that warp charging from OnePlus that's excellent. Now these don't have wireless charging on the back of these glass backs. Don't know why, should have it. This has IP68 waterproofing. This does not. The OnePlus 7 Pro does not have waterproofing, so no headphone jack on any of these suckers. They're both type C, so you're gonna have to rock those type C headphones or do Bluetooth or whatever you got to do. You got the alert slider here on the OnePlus 7 Pro, which you can set your ringer to silent or whatever you want to do. This one does not. Now the OnePlus 7 Pro has that fingerprint and display reader. The Sony phone has the side reader, so if you want to get in, you got to go to the side fingerprint here, which honestly works pretty good. So it's a little different. Not a big fan of in-display fingerprint readers, although the OnePlus 7 Pro is worlds ahead of these Samsung phones as far as in-display. The Samsung in-display readers are just terrible, but the OnePlus is really good. But you know, I like the rear fingerprint reader when a phone has it, like a Pixel or something like that. But you get used to what you have, so it's not a big deal. Even the Samsung, you deal with it, or you do face unlock. Now this does have face unlock. I'll show you here if I can get it going. There it is, face unlock, and it does the pop-up camera. This does not have face unlock, which is kind of a bummer, but hey, do what you do. Dual SIM on this bad boy. This does not. This has the single SIM, but with an SD card, which is kind of cool. Both have stereo speakers, which are excellent speakers on both phones. They're really loud, they're really good, especially on the Sony. I mean, the experience of watching 4K video and then having great speakers is such a treat. But this, you can watch some cool videos on here and also get great speaker quality on both phones. These are really great phones. I really can't, it's hard for me to choose which one I like. I like the form factor of the Sony phone. It's just really easy to use because it has that Hershey bar design. But this thing is so sexy and elegant that I love this phone too. So for me, it's kind of a hard decision. If I had to choose one, it's a toss-up, really. If you left one of these on my dresser the next morning and said, hey, we had to take the other one because you owe us money. Oh, that's a good one. I wouldn't mind, you know, I'd be like, okay, I owe you some money. I'll rock and roll with one of these. It's really not, it's kind of a toss-up to me because, you know, you get the 4K, you get an AMOLED display, brighter, more saturated. This is more definition. Cameras are basically the OnePlus a little better battery. You know, it's just the Sony's a good phone though. I'm not gonna lie. It's something about it. It's tough for me to put this down, but this one is, you know, if I had to give you a statement, I'd probably give the edge to the OnePlus 7 Pro just because it's head and shoulders above any other device except for the Sony phone. It holds its own against a lot of phones these days. The Sony phone is really, really good. But that's gonna do it, man. Follow me on Twitter at AndroidStud. Follow me on Instagram. You know where to find me. Leave some comments down below. Let me know which one you guys like. If you have both or you have one of these, or if you have any questions about either of these, let me know. This is running a July security patch. This is running obviously a July security patch. OnePlus updates their phones really well, and Sony is really keeping up with this version of their phone, the Sony Xperia one. But that's gonna do it. I'm Android Stud. Thanks so much for watching.